evening. Welcome to this edition of Lynnwood Election Watch 2013. I'm Teresa Wippel, and I am the publisher of Lynnwood Today, an online gathering place for neighbors and friends in Lynnwood. And tonight we have an interview with Dave Mayers, who is running for City Council Position 3. And Dave, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
It's great to have you here. And I always say I start with the easy question first, and that is just if you could tell folks a little bit more about yourself and why you want to be on the Lynnwood City Council.
Well, about 4 or 5 years ago, I became interested in politics. And I've been listening to talk radio, and I've been trying to follow the politics locally. And I went to what they call Lynnwood University, where they show you the different aspects of the city of Lynnwood, and then I took the Citizens Academy, where they show you the different aspects of the police. And I just thought that this would be a good time for me to try and get in and see how I would fit in the Lynnwood City Council and in Lynnwood in general, and hope that I have some ideas that the people could use and the Lynnwood City Council and the mayor's office could use to maybe bring Lynnwood forward a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And your background is working for Boeing in quality assurance, is that correct?
I'm a quality specialist.
Okay.
So that's the salaried side of a quality assurance, which is an hourly side. Mm-hmm. I basically work making sure that the compliance is taken care of. That's my job right now.
Okay, all right. And you've been in Lynnwood, you said more or less about 10 years, with a few trips out of state.
Off and on.
Yeah.
I've lived in other states and worked in other states
Right.
for Boeing, but off and on probably about 10 years, I think.
Okay, all right. Well, a few questions that we put together that seem to be issues that people in Lynnwood have been talking about. And one of those is the whole issue of the link light rail coming to Lynnwood
Right.
eventually, and kind of the things that will accompany that, some impacts
Right.
on citizens, and the fact that the Lynnwood City Council has gone on record as opposing the location of the maintenance and operations facility in Lynnwood. Mm-hmm. Do you have some thoughts about that? Have you researched that issue at all?
Well, I really haven't researched that issue. I think what I'm hearing when I went to the Lynnwood U was about the taxes and how Lynnwood kind of limits their scope to the Alderwood Mall, to the red light cameras, to individuals. I do know about the rail coming to Lynnwood, and then I think they said it's going to go either to Painfield and then up to Everett. I guess it's going to run every 10 minutes or 15 minutes. I do know something about how they want to structure it, and I know that they said that they wanted people to come to Lynnwood and stay in Lynnwood, as opposed to it being just a community where people live. So what I would like to do, and the way I see it, I would like to encourage Lynnwood politicians and voters to get involved and maybe get other types of businesses in Lynnwood, that we could see more working in Lynnwood, more people in Lynnwood spending money, spending time, having concerts in parks, or having outdoor movies like they do in some of the other areas. Mm-hmm. And that would get people in there, that would get them to stay there, that would get them to spend money there. And I think that's the kind of the direction that I wanted to go.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned red light cameras,
Right?
And that's an issue that people seem to either think they're okay or not so thrilled about. Do you have any opinions about what that's doing for the city?
I think when they first started, they did it because a lot of people were running red lights, but now it's become a part of Lynnwood's budget, and so I don't know. Are they going to do it, for a longer period of time, put in more cameras because they need more in their budget, as opposed to the actual safety of it?
Mm-hmm. Right. Do you think that citizens' opinions about them, whether pro or con, have been factored into the city's approach right now? Do you think the city has been listening to what citizens have to say about the cameras?
I really don't think they have. I think that for the last 10 years, from what I understand, when I went to Lynnwood U, was that, the budget is a real big thing. And for the last 10 years, since we've been in this budget crisis, their budgets have kind of been down, probably like everybody else's.
Yes.
But in my opinion, I don't think they've done enough to diversify so that they can bring in other forms of revenue.
Do you have some ideas on what, if you were on the city council, what kinds of revenue sources would you look at to diversify?
I mean, if I was on the Lynnwood City Council, I would first consider Payne Field is going to become an airport, an actual airport, passenger airport, and I would bring in companies that would allow people to come in, stay there for a while instead of going to Tulalip. Maybe gambling, gaming would be something they could do. Arts, any, like I say, musics. There's a lot of things that they could do, and I think that, like any manager at a business, we need to clear the way so that the people can come in and set up shop and be productive and be successful.
So maybe more emphasis on tourism and taking advantage of those folks who are coming into town.
I would think so, yes.
Yeah, okay. What kinds of feedback have you heard, if any, or familiar with the issue of the small business climate in the city of Lynnwood, in terms of if a small business wants to locate in the city?
Right.
Some of the feedback I've heard from folks is they don't necessarily feel like it's a very welcoming place. There's a lot of bureaucracy that's involved, and have you heard that as well?
I have heard that as well. I've heard some businesses say that Lynnwood has kind of sent them a notice that, we don't want your business here, which is, I don't know why they'd want that, It brings in revenue. I don't understand their thinking of that. I would think they'd want all the businesses there they could handle. There's a lot of empty storefronts in Lynnwood, and I think we need to fill those up with businesses. I think that if that happened, if Lynnwood had a city center instead of being spread out, and if they put businesses in there, I think that people could come in, spend money, stay there, and maybe stay there for 2 or 3 hours, 5 hours, whatever, to just make it an attractive place. I don't think Lynnwood right now, in its present state, is an attractive city.
And so how would you, if you were on the city council, how would you go about changing that? Because I think you're right. We've had this conversation with a few other candidates who've come in, and the conversation seems to go to the fact that when you try to think of a city center in Lynnwood, it's hard to really pinpoint where that is.
Exactly.
And kind of an identity for the city as well. So how would
Exactly.
you, if you were on the council, how would you go about addressing that?
How would I go about addressing that? I think I would try to bring all your businesses in together. I think anybody that's ridden on any of the streets in Lynnwood, they're atrocious. I mean, they're just like cow pastures. They need to get those fixed up. They need to put some lighting up. They need to maybe have the people remodel the older buildings, bring them into a nicer area, like Shoreline. I mean, they've got some bricks across the street, and it's really a nice looking area. They've really cleaned it up a little bit, whereas Lynnwood, I think, has been very lax in that.
And of course, I'm sure there are some probably in government right now, in Lynnwood city government, who would say, well, we've had to cut back, the recession, we haven't had the money maybe to do the street repairs.
Right.
I know there are a lot of cities actually that are facing that issue.
Right.
What kinds of things would you do if you were elected to start looking at revenue sources or budget cuts, or what approach would you take to try to find revenue to take care of some of those issues?
Well, from what I understand from the last time I was at one of the budget meetings, that there's still a budget crunch. There's still not a lot of money coming into the city of Lynnwood. I understand also that a lot of cities have filed bankruptcy, a lot of major cities, because of the lack of funds coming in. So I think I would try to, as I said before, have the city of Lynnwood contact businesses, ask them what they want, and give it to them. That way, like you say, there's been a lot of bureaucracy in Lynnwood. And I think that if we cut through that, we made it easy for people to relocate there, then I think that people would relocate there.
Okay. Another issue that has been in the news a fair amount in recent months has been the golf course at Lynnwood and the state auditor's report that found that there were some financial issues.
Right.
What do you see, in your opinion, the future of the golf course being in the city? Do you think it's an important asset and one that they should work to try to keep operating?
Well, from what I understand, the golf course is owned by the state of Washington, Edmonds Community College, and Lynnwood. So you've got three different entities that have that golf course. I think the city of Lynnwood has like a third of it. So I think that Edmonds Community College and the state of Washington should get together, and with Lynnwood, and say, is this golf course something that we need? Is it bringing in revenue? Is it generating revenue? If it's not generating revenue, maybe there should be a better use for it.
Okay. Are you a golfer?
No, I'm not.
Yeah. I'm not sure that matters. I don't think I asked that question of anybody else,
No,
but I
okay.
think for some people
No.
But
I know several people that are golfers, and it's just, I think it's a 9-hole course, and I don't think it's a challenging course. If you're new at golf, then it's a pretty good one. But if you're any kind of mid-level or to expertise, they go elsewhere to play golf.
Okay. All right. Okay. Something that has been kind of an interesting statistic as I've been looking through some of the latest U.S. Census reports about Lynnwood and kind of how the population in the city has been changing. It's been getting older. There are more senior citizens in Lynnwood now.
Exactly.
It's becoming more diverse, and also the kind of interesting that the median household income is about $18,000 less than the rest of Snohomish County. And of course that brings all kinds of challenges in terms of low income, moderate income housing and things like that.
It does.
How do you see the city being able to address those issues as those kind of populations continue to grow?
Well, as the population continues to grow, get older, expand, people will move on. Again, we need to have people in Lynnwood or around Lynnwood working. And I know everybody's on the wants more money for like the fast foods. They want to make them $15 an hour now. But if you don't do that, people are not going to be able to afford to live. As far as the government statistics, the federal government, I think they said that 50% of the people are on some kind of assistance, food stamps or whatever. So we're going to have to, bring these people into a category where they can exist. Otherwise, the city of Lynnwood is just going to, I think, go down as far as a livable type city, a bedroom community.
And do you think the city can play a role in that, figuring out some of the moderate income
I think
housing
they can.
and things
I
like
think
that?
they can. I would hope that they could get grants, possibly put up low income housing. And that's not to say that we're going to give it to them. I think that anybody that gets some kind of housing should have to work for it. That's my conservative side coming out, I guess. We just shouldn't hand it to them for nothing. I mean, we've got to make sure that they have a good sweat equity into it.
Okay. As an outsider, kind of looking at the council, somebody who's not been really in politics, from what I can
Right.
tell from your background,
I have
and obviously not been in the city council at all, what do you think the city council does well, and what do you think they could do better?
Well, during this past 10 years, they've had to really bite the bullet, and they've got their economy under control. They've had to lay off probably good people to do that, but at the expense of laying off people and cutting down on some of the projects that they should be doing. I think that they need to have more projects, as again bringing industries into the Lynnwood area. I know up here at Everett, DE Aerospace just built a monster building. Why didn't it come to Lynnwood? I mean, that would have been a really big feather. I mean, they're going to probably hire several hundred people, and I'm sure they pay good. People would buy there, live there. I don't know that they're going out and actually trying to get businesses. I mean, large businesses. They seem to be going to Everett or other areas. And so I think they need to step up their game as far as bringing people into the city, so that we can kind of eliminate low-income people, so that people have a chance to make a better living and to buy a house, because that's not a reality for everybody anymore.
Right, so more economic development,
I would think.
business development.
I would think, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Do you think that in terms of, again, as an outsider looking in, and you've had some opportunities to get involved with the Lynnwood
Right.
University and other ways of learning about how the city government operates, do you think as a rule the citizens of Lynnwood feel fairly well informed about what's going on in their city?
I don't think so.
And how do you think how the city could change that?
Well, I know that there's one council member that every Saturday meets at the firehouse at the very last Saturday of the month. I can't tell you about any of the other ones, but I have gone and talked with him. I think that that's maybe what they need to do. We're going to have council members here. Don't put it in one place all the time. Don't make it like at Edmonds Community College or something. Go someplace where people can get to you. Maybe a tent outside Fred Meyer or something. You can go in there and ask questions, get brochures. I think Lynnwood used to have a newspaper, but I don't think they have it anymore. So I mean, it's just they're just not communicating with the members of the community.
And more meetings, more ways of engaging citizens would probably help with that.
Exactly. That's how I think.
Okay. And we talked about kind of the things that the council could be improving on. Is there
Right.
anything that you think that they are doing a good job with? Things that you appreciate about what they do?
Well, yeah, like I say, I think they've got their budget under control. I mean, we're not going to go under as a lot of other cities have.
Right.
They're kind of stagnant right now. They're just kind of muddling along, I think. I think that they're doing the best they can with what they have, but I think that, like every once in a while, you need to have some new blood in there, bring some new ideas in there.
Right.
And I'm hoping that will be me.
Which is a great segue into kind of a
Exactly.
little bit of discussion about, as we get into the primary election, ballots being mailed to
Right,
folks.
right.
What are the things that you hope people will remember as they're looking at your name on the ballot and trying to decide who to vote for?
Well, I'm hoping that they remember that although I don't have a lot of experience in the politics or council, I'm willing to learn, I'm willing to meet with them, I'm willing to take their ideas, I'm willing to present their ideas. I'm willing to go above and beyond what some other people do in the council, I believe, that I could go out there and be successful and present ideas and work with the other council members and the mayor to put this out on the table, and hopefully we can make Lynnwood a little bit better place to live.
Okay. And you think there's some value in having some new blood like yourself who has not been involved in politics, bringing some fresh perspectives to the council?
I do, yes, I do, because sometimes you get in there and you're there for 1 or 2 or 3 terms, you know, that's what, 4-year term. So, I mean, you're there 12 years and you just you're just mechanically doing your job, I think. I think you need to have people in there, new people, fresh ideas, to come in there and say, well, maybe we could do this, maybe we could do that. Bring another area of expertise in.
Okay, very good. Well, again, we've been talking with Dave Mayers running for position 3 on the
Right.
Lynnwood City Council.
Exactly.
And I wish you the best of luck, and thank you so much for coming
Okay.
in and talking to us today.
Thank you very much, I
Yeah,
appreciate
you
that.
bet.
You bet.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.